Hi everyone, it's Kat. Thanks so much for joining me for this process video today. I know I've been gone for quite a while and haven't made any videos, but I'm back and I have a card to share with you today. So I'm starting out with these blending sponges and they are so awesome. They're from Creative Expressions and I'll have a link in my blog post and in the description box below. They are so much better than the Ranger blending tools in my opinion. It makes blending like seamless and easy. And I've never been able to blend very well with the Ranger tool, but since getting these sponges, or blending sponges they're called, it's so much easier and I'm so happy. So I think it's going to change the way that I craft actually, because I used to avoid blending and using my inks just because it was so difficult. But now that it's so easy, I'm going to go ahead and use them a lot. So as you can see, I'm using squeezed lemonade, tumbled glass, and spun sugar. And I'm just going to blend them so that the yellow turns into green and then blue. And then when I add the pink, I'm going to go back into the blue a little bit and make it purple. So it's going to go yellow, green, blue, purple, pink. And the pink is pretty light, so I'm going to put a little extra on there. And it came out a little bit funny because I'm using watercolor paper. I'm using the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, and this is not my favorite watercolor paper. In fact, it was pilling a lot when I was trying to watercolor on it with my Zig markers, and so I ended up going and using my Strathmore for the elephant, which you'll see in a little bit. But I did use the Tim Holtz watercolor paper for the background here. So I'm finished blending now, or I'm almost finished. I'm just going back and doing some touch-ups, and then I'm going to put those away. And I have this handy little container that I got from Amazon to store those blending sponges in, and I'll link to that too. So now I have a Spellbinder circle die and a MFT frame die, but first I'm going to cut my panel out with a Cat Scrappiness die. And I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but I have my own line of dies out now and also my own line of sequins. So you're going to be seeing one of my dies and a pack of my sequins in this video. And I have about 160 sequin mixes right now. And I've got about 15 dies, so if you want to check those out, they'll be in the description box as well. I'm really excited about them. I've worked really hard on all of that. So as you can see, I die cut the circle out of the panel, and I'm just adjusting my camera now. I was having some camera issues. I think because I haven't filmed in so long, I kind of got out of the routine of doing it. So now I'm going to get some aqua cardstock and I'm going to cut a frame, and then I'm also going to cut my card base and score it with my Score Buddy, and it's a 4.25 by 5, 4.25 by 5.5 card. It's a top fold card. And now I'm going to use the panel and then glue in the circle, and I'm just going to use the panel to line that up. And now I've got some transparency, and I'm going to put some adhesive around the circle so that I can put my transparency down. And then I can add some foam tape. And I'm not going to bore you by making you watch me put foam tape on there, so I'll just skip to the sequins. This is the Tinkerbell mix sequin mix from Cat Scrappiness, and that's what I'm using today because it matches the colors perfectly. And I'm just going to take off the release paper. And then I decide that I want to put some sequins on that little circle panel. Just so that when I shake it, some of the sequins will still look like they're up there and they're not all falling to the bottom. So I'm using my matte medium in these Doris ultra fine tip bottles, which I really like, and they're just awesome. You can put any kind of glue you want in them. So I'm going to go ahead and use my crystal katana and place my sequins down where I put the glue dots, and I'm going to fast forward so you don't have to watch that either. So now I've got my Stampaholic Nano out, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp my elephant. And this elephant stamp is from Whimsy Stamps. It's really cute. And I messed up the first time I shifted my paper and it stamped a little bit off. So I'm flipping it over and I'm going to re-stamp it. And I've got some bar magnets from Cat Scrappiness as well. And I really like those. They hold the paper in place without, they don't get stuck together as much as the circle ones, and they don't break as easily. So I've got my elephant stamped, and I used Ranger Archival ink because I'm going to be watercoloring. And now I'm going to go ahead and color. Now I'm not an expert with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. or watercoloring, so it's very basic, and I'm just going to do a teeny bit of shading as well as I know how. But yeah, I'm not great with these. I really like them, and I find them to be easy, but I'm not as good as some of the people that you'll see on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and color this little elephant in, and then I will be back. Okay, so I'm going to use my brother's Scan and Cut to cut out this little elephant, because I don't usually buy dies that coordinate with stamp sets anymore since I got the Scan and Cut. And I'm going to go ahead and use that off camera. You're not going to see that, but that's how I'm going to cut this little fellow out. And I thought I was done coloring, but I guess I do a little bit more shading here. But when I'm finished coloring, then all of a sudden you'll see it magically cut out, and I just wanted you to know how I did that, because I certainly didn't fussy cut it. So there it is, all cut out. As you can see the white border. So I just took my Copic multi-liner brush pen, and I'm just going around the edges and coloring it black, and that's going to make it look finished and clean, and it just looks more, I don't know, professional or something. It's clean, like a clean edge. So I'm a little bit off screen here for a bit, and I'm sorry about that. I've got to get back into the swing of things with the filming. But I've added some foam tape to the back of my panel, and I'm going to go ahead and glue the back onto the front. And then I've got the shaker portion of my card done. I'm going to add some adhesive to the frame and then just glue that on. And next is the elephant. And I decided that I wanted the elephant to be flat on the transparency, and I wanted it to stick really well and not come up. So I'm going to use Tombow Extreme adhesive. You didn't see that, but that's the adhesive that I used on the elephant. And if I didn't mention it before, the elephant is the Sketched Elephant stamp set from Whimsy Stamps, and the sentiment is also from the stamp set. So now I've got my regular Stampaholic out because it's larger and I wanted to stamp on the front of the card. I use my Nano for most things, but when I need to stamp on the front of a card or something like that, then I use my regular Stampaholic because it's bigger. So I took the foam out because I have kind of a dimensional card here with foam tape. So when I stamped it, it stamped really well. And I'm going to stamp it twice because it's watercolor paper, so it doesn't always stamp crisp. And then I'm going to add the foam back into my Stampaholic, and then I'm finished stamping the front of the card. And I'm having a giveaway right now. Check out my other videos. I've got a, I'm giving away a Stampaholic Nano. So if you're interested in that, check it out. So I just thought that maybe I'd add a few more sequins on the outside of the frame on the front of the card. And I'm going to do that real quick. And then I'm pretty much finished with the card. I decided to leave the inside blank because I want to write a message. I'm going to send this card to my nieces and my nephew, and I want to be able to write my own sentiment in there, so I didn't stamp anything on the inside. So here's a picture, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this card process video, and I will be back soon. Bye.